Hi friends, hi grandboys, Coulter and Briggs. It's Nonna, and today I have a Franklin story for you. And this one is about Franklin going to the library. I got this book from the library. You know, you can go to the library and get all sorts of wonderful books there. So I thought I'm going to go to the library and get some new books for me to read to you. And this one is about Franklin and library book. Franklin's library book. Franklin can tie his shoes. Franklin can count by twos. And Franklin can borrow library books all by himself. Franklin takes good care of the books he borrows most of the time. One day, Franklin went to the library. He found 3 new books. How to Keep a Super Duper Tidy Bedroom. Franklin shook his head. How to Do Super Duper Homework. Franklin shook his head again. How to Make a Super Duper Kite. I'll take this one, said Franklin. At home, Franklin read his book. He found sticks and string. He found cloth and ribbons. Then he hurried to the hill. On the way, he saw Bear. Bear, he called Franklin. He held up his book. Want to make a kite? Sure, said Bear. Franklin and Bear made 2 super duper kites. They ran up and down the hill all afternoon. They flew loop-de-loops. They made figure 8s. They did takeoffs and landings. They didn't stop until it was time for supper. The next day, Beaver phoned Franklin. I want to borrow How to Make a Super Duper Kite, she said. Have you finished it? Yes, said Franklin. I will return it to the library. Franklin hung up the phone. He went to get the book. Franklin looked everywhere. He looked under his desk. He looked in his toy box. He looked on his shelf. Franklin found his super duper kite, but he did not find How to Make a Super Duper Kite. Uh-oh, said Franklin. I'm in big trouble. Franklin looked everywhere, all over again. Franklin, called his mother, it's story time at the library. I'm not going, said Franklin. But you love story time, said his mother. Not today, said Franklin. But soon Franklin changed his mind. He said, maybe I can go to story time. Franklin put on a big scarf. He put on a floppy hat. He put on dark sunglasses. Then he went to the library. Why do you think he's wearing a scarf and a big hat and glasses? He sneaked in and sat at the back. Oh, I see. He doesn't want to be seen. Oh, there he is. When story time was over, Franklin got up to go. Is that you, Franklin? Mrs. Goose asked. No, said Franklin. You sure look like Franklin, said Mrs. Goose. It isn't me, said Franklin. He ran out of the library. Franklin ran around the corner. He saw his friends. Is that you, Franklin? Asked Bear. Shh, said Franklin. Why are you dressed like that? Asked Rabbit. I'm hiding from Mrs. Goose, said Franklin. Why? Asked Fox. I lost a library book, said Franklin. Uh-oh, said Bear. You're in big trouble. Franklin ran all the way to the park. He sat down to think. What did I do with how to make a super duper kite? First I went to the hill, then Bear and I made kites, then Bear and I went home, then... Aha! said Franklin. I know where the book is. That's a really smart idea, to go step by step where he was. Franklin ran all the way to the hill. He stood where he had made his kite. I left how to make a super duper kite right here. Franklin looked around. He did not see his book, but he did see Bear and Beaver and Fox and Rabbit, and they were all making kites. What do you see? Franklin was very surprised. Are those super duper kites? He asked. Yes, said Bear. He held up how to make a super duper kite. Wow, shouted Franklin. Where did you find my book? I didn't find it, said Bear. I took it home with me yesterday. But Bear, cried Franklin, that's the book I lost. Oops, said Bear. I guess I'm in big trouble. Yes, you are, said Franklin. He reached for the book. But now I'm not. So, when we take a book out of the library, we have to take really, really good care of it. And we also have to make sure we return it. If we don't, we have to pay for it. Or in the beginning, you pay some fines. Every day that you have it, you have to pay a little bit of money. So if I don't bring these books back on time, then I'm going to have to pay a few cents every day. And if I don't ever bring them back, I'm going to have to pay for them. So it's really important that we take good care of our library books. It's always fun going to the library. I hope you enjoyed that story. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next time. Bye.